Jay here for Stretford Paddock. That's Joe Smith. Manchester United 2, Manchester City 0. And I'm going to be honest with you, Joe. We've just come back from Old Trafford. I think the scoreline flattered City. We were just amazing today. It was like everything I could have wanted to see in a derby. We saw the crowd was up for it, the players were up for it, the quality was there. It was just, I'm struggling to get my words out. It was just unreal.
It was absolutely unbelievable. That's one of the best I've ever seen us play. and I'm not even joking. We were talking before about when's the last time United dominated a game against City like that. We talked about the FA Cup final. But there was 30 minutes where
the last 30.
we were sort of not hanging on, but we really sat back and didn't offer a lot going forward after being phenomenal for 60 minutes. But before that, was there a 4-2 under Van Gaal? I know there's been a few
I said to you on the way here,
down the years.
I think you got to go back to the 94-95 season when Andrei Kanchelski scored a hat-trick.
And I'll be honest, I didn't see that one being 18 months old at the time.
Typical
that
YouTuber.
Is as good in a big game as we've been in a long time, if not that I've ever seen. It was an utter destruction of Manchester City. From start to finish, they had so few attacks, so few shots. They had a bit of the ball, but it was boring, nothing football that United handled so comfortably. And basically every time we got the ball, not only did we look confident and we looked sort of positive, we looked like scoring. Put the ball in it 5 times, hit the woodwork a further 2 times. Donnarumma had a world-class day.
Oh, he did.
And yet
he was well
the ball
annoying,
hit his net 5 times. That tells you how good Manchester United were today.
No, they were. How much credit do you give to Michael Carrick for this? Because there's some people who come in and go, no, all you've got to do is, not be Ruben Amorim, or just, you get that new manager bounce. But we have had a manager post Ruben Amorim in Darren Fletcher, no disrespect to Fletch, but we didn't really see much of a reaction, if any.
No.
But today was like, me and you were joking before, it was almost like watching a different team. I think you said it's like watching a different sport.
Yeah.
Like how much you give it to Michael Carrick, not just for motivating the players, because that's one thing, but his tactics, even his substitutions. I think, not to put words in your mouth, but for me, and Michael Carrick just did an amazing job in managing that team. Yeah,
you can't not give him credit just because it's been 3 days or whatever, because we haven't played, like I said, we haven't played like that in so long. It's been such a long time where United looked like the better team for 90 minutes against any of our big rivals. We've had good performances and good wins, and don't get me wrong, at Anfield we dominated the game under Van Gaal, and there's been some choice performances where you go, we just battered them today. But not against City, not against Pep City. It just doesn't happen. We were looking before the game. Typically, it's either a draw, a narrow United win, or City batter us.
Yeah.
They have been the parameters that this fixture has lived in for about a decade, and this broke through that massively today. And so you can't just go, well, it's only been 3 days. And I don't know how much of it was Michael Carrick. No one knows, really. But all we can say is that was absolutely impeccable from Man United, and therefore impeccable from the manager. It's not just the players, it's not just the manager, but it's certainly neither. It's not neither of them either.
No.
You have to give so much credit to Michael Carrick. Whatever he did, and I'll have the pleasure of watching the game back in full many times.
How
over
many
the rest
times
of the
have you
weekend.
sat down and rewatched the derby game?
Not very many.
Not many.
And it's going to be an absolute joy to do so. And maybe in that we'll see a bit more of the tactics and what actually went on today. But you have to give him loads of credit, because if not, what are we doing here?
No.
What did you think? How much are you giving to Carrick?
Massively. I think I always give a manager credit for 2 things. Like, one, if the players look like they're up for it for him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's a bit of response in the energy and the effort. And also, if he does something, or he does something tactically, or picks a team that isn't obvious to me. So when I saw that team, me and you did the preview and the predicted 11s. Neither of us predicted that team. I think I thought Sesko might get dropped.
That was a good shout from you.
I thought it might be a false 9, but I certainly didn't think he'd drop Cunha and Sesko, which was a big call, and he got it right.
Maguire straight back in.
Maguire straight back in. You're right. I didn't have that one. So those are calls where you go. And before the game at 11:15 when the team was announced, my phone's pinging all groups. Actually, it's like, oh, I don't know about this. Oh, what's he doing here? Really? He's going with Douglas in attack and benching Cunha. Oh my God, Maguire straight in. Oh, he's not dropped a low after his recent games. All this sort of stuff. And yet his tactics were right. His selection was right, because we got the win, and it was a comfortable win. And we could have had, we're 5 margins away from it being an absolute hammering. We hit the post, we hit the bar. Donnarumma had some amazing saves. There's offsides that was so close. They could have gone either way. I mean, it's just almost. I know this sounds proper 2-bit, but it's almost like you're in dreamland when everything like that happens. Like, the crowd are up for it. We were up for it from as soon as it kick off. City are just not at the races at all. We made them look bang average. Players that you fear, who've got a good record against us, just didn't get a sniff. Foden went off at half-time. They sort of maybe broke his hand, but either way, weren't doing out.
Oh, really?
Haaland,
he's been wearing that hand strap his whole career.
He's had it Canada.
Put a bit of use to it.
Haaland, who you had Button Scholes pointing out, was going to run Martinez ragged, even though Martinez has got a very good record against him. He gets subbed after having, I think, the least amount of touches I've ever seen a striker have at Old Trafford. He was barely in the game at all. I know he's always dangerous because of who he is, but he wasn't in the game. And then you look at it from a United point of view, and I almost feel bad asking this because I don't want to single anyone out because I thought so many players played well. But who in particular were you impressed with? If you could go for the entire squad to be fair. But is there any 2 or 3 players that you can go, just whatever, whoever?
You always have to come back to Bruno Fernandes. Yeah. What a player he is! I think he's up there as again, just one of the best attacking midfielders I've ever seen at United. And for me, he goes in any team we've ever had, or certainly plays a big role in any squad we've ever had. I'm not saying he'd start ahead of Keane or Scholes in any given final, but I think if you put him in any squad we've had, he is an important, vital player who's making chances for anyone. But I think watching that game, like you said, almost looking at some of the players that you didn't quite expect it from, Dorgu was sensational. I think the way
Dorgu living up to
the name. Him and Luke Shaw on that side doing a real job on Semenyo because he's in unbelievable form at the minute. He scored against us at this ground, 6 weeks ago?
Yeah,
for Bournemouth. Not even 6 weeks ago, it was just before Christmas. He did everything up and down the pitch, and obviously he still lacks some of that sort of final third finesse, although he scored. But I do think that he's someone that you just don't have to worry about his work rate, his effort, his energy, his intensity. I thought he was brilliant. I also thought Mainu was excellent.
Yeah.
Again, just the amount of times where he's got Rodri on his back and he's jumping up for headers, and not always the beautiful kind of technical stuff that he's so good at, but the scrapping, work rate, fighting stuff that you just want to see from all the players. If you're not careful, you're going to run through the whole 11.
I mean, that's what it was like today.
Harry Maguire and Lissandro Martinez are the last 2 I mentioned. Unbelievable. I mean, there's a stat. Martinez won every single one of his ground duels and every single one of his aerial duels. Harry Maguire.
Well, he's short, Joe. He can't do that. He's only 5 foot nothing.
I don't understand this. I don't understand this thing of like sort of playground bullying of our own players
from our former players,
from our club legends.
Yeah.
I don't think it's necessary. Unless it's really necessary, it's not necessary.
I can only understand it, right, if you're seeing players doing things maybe off the pitch.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, if you're seeing players, you see representing a club that you obviously, spent almost your entire career, in some cases your entire career at, and they're not turning up, and they're doing things off the pitch you don't agree with, and they're sort of sullying the name of your club. I get it, but Lissandro Martinez has never done any of those things.
No,
he's always turned up when he's been picked. He's one of our better players when he does play as well. And the only issue you've had with him has been injuries. It's not his fault he gets injured, and he's also a player that even when he's injured wants to play. Apparently, he had a row with Ruben Amorim because he wanted to come back earlier than he did.
Yeah.
So that was really bizarre for me.
Who are your?
I mean, I'm with you on Mainu. I get worried a little bit when Mainu started because I thought there's so much pressure on him now and expectation because he's become this thing of it's like Kobbie Mainu should have played under Amorim. Like I was like desperate for him to do well and sort of prove people like me who've been calling for him to start right, and he did that. I thought he was very good. Ahmad, I could watch all day.
Brilliant point.
Oh my god,
what a player!
Like, what is he about? My mate was saying he's gonna have to take Ahmad off at some point because he's barely played for club level because he's been at the AFCON. He's gonna be knackered. He just kept going.
Yeah.
And he hit the post and he
that one near the end
like,
when he had like 5 City players around him.
Yeah.
And just to get the extra touch, and it all opened up from. I thought, this is it.
How does someone who's so small and quite slight in build be so strong in challenges as well? It's like players who are twice his size bouncing off him. He even wins headers. Yeah. He wins headers. He's like this guy's a freak.
Like a flea, isn't it?
Yeah.
He just springs out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like the booking. I think he basically forced a booking on Nico O'Reilly, didn't he? Was just all over him. Yeah. Riley goes one way and tries to turn back and he's there, and you go round and you cut back and he's there. Like it is literally like trying to. I don't know.
It was the one player I want to single out as well. Another one, and I'll make this my last one because I could go for everyone. Yeah. It's someone I've given a bit of stick to this season. Is Luke Shaw. I thought he did very well today because I've been critical of him. I was very critical of him after the Everton game where I thought he was just sauntering around when we were 1-0 down like we were winning.
Yeah.
But he was mint today. He was. And I thought all the players did what we were talking about in the preview. They had a bit of fight. We didn't get bullied. We were up for it. You saw it when City players were trying to go toe-to-toe with us and then they end up rolling around the floor crying at Anthony Taylor. That's what you want to see. Make them work for every challenge. Make them work for every ball. Show them, no matter what, even if they might have better quality in certain areas, they're going to have a fight on their hands, and they had that today. And it's just a little reminder for me today, the actual quality we've got. Because it's easy when you look at the league position, when you look at the fact we drew with Wolves and West Ham and Bournemouth and lost to Everton and all the rest of it, you go, actually this team's pretty crap. We're not. Like, if you look at the actual players we've got and you go through that 11, there's only one or two you could say they're maybe going to need to be replaced long term if we're going to challenge for titles and stuff. I think a lot of those players are good enough to challenge for a title. I think they are, and that might sound like me getting carried away, but we've just gone up against one of the best teams in the league who are in good form, and we've absolutely dominated them.
Yeah.
That's not a coincidence. It's not a bit of luck. That's because you've actually got players. You know when it's like in those tight areas you mentioned before, and players are pinging it to each other, and you think, if that was me, that'd be bouncing and just going out for a throw-in and the crowd would be calling for my head. They keep it under control. You go like Mainu to Mbumo, to Luke Shaw, to Martinez, to Casemiro. The actual control that they've all got is unbelievable, even for Premier League level, because they're all very, very talented footballers.
I think as well, when you look at, even under Amorim, when it was clearly a fit that didn't work, the players and him, it just wasn't clicking, was it? We were still one of the best attacks in the league. Yeah. Like, you know, despite the fact that we've been so bad, the manager's just been sacked. I think up until the AFCON, United had the second most goals in the league, and then obviously you lose two of your most creative players and it goes down a bit. But there are a lot of very good players in there. Obviously, there's still players where you go, that's not going to work long term, that's not going to work, that's not going to work. 4 or 5 of those. But there's certainly, when everyone's fit, when you it makes a big difference having Martinez, Maguire, Ahmad and Mbumo. And Bruno. All of those players were missing for a chunk of games.
No, that's huge. That's such a big part of everything you want to do. Leadership, the influence they have on players around them, the quality they've got. I mean, you're losing so much. So I do get that point completely, because you're going back to, like, you look at the Amorim's last game in charge of the Leeds game, and I'm not defending Ruben Amorim. I think we've spent enough time going back and forth over him. But you look at that team that was available there compared to this, it's night and day, innit?
Why was City so bad? And I don't want this thing either where it's like, well, City didn't turn up, because I hate I
said that a little bit about Foden or something.
But they weren't quite there, and obviously United then completely capitalised on that and forced them to be worse than if we'd have been having one of our off days, they'd have built momentum and all that. We completely stopped them from being able to, but they had a little element of like, you're not quite right today.
I think sometimes when you sort of team like Manchester City, and to be fair, I think we saw it a few weeks ago against Brighton, where if teams don't roll over, if teams actually are like, you know what, we're going to go toe to toe here. We're not just going to go sit back because it's City and we can't do anything about it, we can get a scrappy goal, whatever. That sort of plays into their arms. But when you actually get at him, it's probably a little bit of a surprise, because it's like, hang on a minute, we weren't expecting this. The crowd are up for it. That's got to play a part. That every single challenge and every single ball, you've got, Old Trafford at its best today for me. Been to so many games over the years, but that we were right up there in terms of atmosphere. I thought we were well up for it, which is good to see. And I think you're probably looking at the amount of quality we've got, where there isn't like many weak spots in the team where you think, right, just target him. I know people will be on Deleu's case because he had a challenge that he should have been a red card, and there was a couple of other passes that went awry, but on the whole, we're so solid at the back. Do you know what I mean? 21 seconds to go and all that. It's like you're not going to go, right, we'll just keep hammering him or keep hammering him. It's we'll get a result here. It's very difficult when you've got everyone who you're up against who's on it, and there's a lot of quality there as well. And I think City maybe weren't used to it. And I think that with Manchester City, I think you've got to have a good start against them to give yourself a real chance. And we did that. We were on the front foot and we were winning those battles early doors. And that's what you need to do, because once they get a foothold in a game, it's over. And I think the best way to do is not let them get that foothold in the game, because I don't even think they had a shot on target today. I know XG is not for everyone, and I'm certainly not an XG merchant, but I think they had an XG of like 0.4 or something, where ours was in like,
this,
I don't know what it was.
It's like 3.8. This is City's biggest ever loss on XG. It's since the metric was tracked. And that is real quick.
Even if we'd have lost the game today, that would still be a win.
Jay had taken a loss. As long as we win on XG, mate. No, but in all honesty, when you talk about the strong start, I was worried and I was panicking at halftime, thinking, so many times this season, we sort of have these chances, don't score them, and then the opposition scores with the first shot on target. Like, literally against Burnley, they scored 2 goals from 1 shot on target, which I've never seen before in my entire life.
Manchester United in 25, 26 thing.
They had more goals than shots on target. That can't happen, and yet it did. Whereas in this game, and maybe this is something that the manager can bring and the manager instills, and like you said, the leaders on the pitch instill, we didn't miss chances and get our heads down and start going, oh, it's happening again. Because at times you can almost feel the ball kind of being sucked towards our goal as we get our heads down and we lose, hope, and we lose this. Like the Everton game, they had 10 men and they still looked more like scoring against us until they did.
That was a low point for me as a
Yeah, that was insane.
Genuinely.
And yet today, we would have the ball, have a good chance, miss it, go again, until we got the goals, score, disallowed, go again. Because we've seen in the past, like Southampton last season, wasn't it, where they were all over us away from home, then they missed a penalty, and the momentum of that just flew us into the game, and we beat them comfortably in the end. It's not impossible that even at 1-0 up, if you have a goal disallowed, that can give momentum to the opposition. Even though you think it would be like great for you, it's so gutting and sort of like painful that it can push the never happened.
No.
Everything that happened today encouraged us more. And I think you have to give the manager credit for that, because he's the one on the sideline who is guiding how this game should feel as a player. And it was just phenomenal. Genuinely, how many times do we get to sit here and say, I can't tell you a single bad thing that happened today, except Dallow's a couple of weird passes across the edge of our box for some reason. But genuinely, everyone was excellent. The tactics were spot on. We dominated the game. City never looked like scoring. We looked like we could. It should have been a 5 or 6 0 game.
It sounds
that's
crazy
maybe the only thing
to say. I'm almost disappointed we only won 2-0. But there's part of me that feels like that could have been a 3 or 4-0 game, and it could have been like
that could have been a historic one.
Yeah, it could have been.
It probably will be anyway because of just how controlled we were.
But Pep Guardiola doesn't lose many games, certainly not in a style where his teams get dominated, and that's what happens today. I'm going to ask you a couple of easy questions just before we wrap up. Michael Carrick.
21 is coming.
Right, so 21.
Go on.
Michael Carrick, if we see this continue, like, and I know I'm going early. It's been one game.
Yeah, but we might get battered against Arsenal. This might be our chance to have this conversation.
Would you be happy if the board went at the end of the season, give him the job, give him a contract, or do you think we need to be wary of doing that again because of what happened with Ollie?
I'm going to answer it in a bit of a knobbish way here, Jay, so excuse me.
It's I work with.
I think it would be almost impossible for this to carry on for the rest of the season.
Right.
I think the way they played today, the fact that everyone was fit, or everyone you needed to be fit was fit, I think the momentum, the fact that it was your first game, it was against City, I think everything came together so brilliantly today that to do this for the rest of the season would be unthinkable. And I don't think it can happen. But if it does, of course you get the job, because you can't be dominating Man City and playing at that level for the next 15 games and not. Unfortunately, I think it's almost impossible. What do you reckon?
I don't know. I think if he loses to Arsenal, give him the job.
Why?
Because he knows what he's doing.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Title race and all that.
Mr. Carrick.
Yes.
I understand your game.
A gutsy loss against Arsenal, is it?
We were knocking after the City win.
And why have you taken Bruno Cunha and the goalie off? And not brought another goalie on? That's weird.
Why have you brought Andre Onana back from his loan spell and played him up front?
Yeah.
No, I'm only messing. Like, look, I'm an emotional football fan. If we win football matches and Michael Carrick, who I love, is successful and gets us into the top 5 or 4, I'd be well okay with us giving him a job permanently. Of course I would. I just think the board have to have a decent plan. And my last question for you is, I know it's early doors, it's only been 95 minutes or whatever under Carrick.
What 95?
Do you think Champions League football is a possibility? Do you think that? I know that's a bit of a wishy-washy question. Of course it's a possibility. Do you think we're going to get it? Let's be more.
I'm going to. I think it's going to be really difficult. I do think though, keep everyone fit. I think we will.
Yeah.
If we have big injuries, obviously Bruno again, which you don't even cross your mind normally that he could get injured, but now there's a crack in the armour a little bit. Keep Bruno fit, keep Mbermo and Ahmad, and two of De Ligt, Maguire and Martinez. I think we will get top 4 or top 5, whatever's necessary. If they get injured, I think it's really quite unlikely. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I agree. I think that we've been here before when it was like we lost Pogba and we lost Eric Bailly at one point. He was phenomenal. Then all of a sudden we just dropped off almost off a cliff.
Yeah.
Or when it was like these early doors when we lost, I think it was Herrera or Matic, one of the midfield three, it really affected us. So there are certain players we cannot afford to lose because the drop off is there. Even under Michael Carrick, I think you'll see that. But if he can keep most of his squad fit, we've only got one game a week.
This team we saw today will get Champions League football.
Yeah, I agree.
It's if we don't get to see this team.
And also, towards the end of the season, when certain clubs you're up against have to make decisions about we've got a Champions League knockout game and we've got a Premier League game, we have to rest and rotate here, or we've got an FA Cup quarter-final and we've got, you know what I mean? Like, there's other things at play, or they're just getting general fatigue, the amount of games they're playing. They're playing 50-odd games, we're playing 40. That can come into play. So I think that can help Michael Carrick. I don't think it's as big an effect early in the season. I think later in the season is 100%. When you can really start seeing the positives from not being in as many competitions, or in our case, only being in one.
How many teams have gone from being on for a treble or a quadruple now, and by the end of February, you've got nothing left?
Yeah, it's happened a few times. I mean, to a lesser degree, there was times under Finn when we were on for like the most trophies ever, like 6 trophies in a season, and you only win, you know, the League Cup in the league or whatever. But it happens to a lot of teams. So yeah, I'm hoping it happens to some of our rivals, and we can go there, man.
What
it's
a
just
day,
like
Jess.
it's
so good that we get to. I know that
we've been sat here over these last 6 weeks talking about how the draw against Bournemouth weren't that bad. Yeah. Or there was some positives. There was some positives in that draw against Wolves, sort of.
I saw something in the second half.
Yeah. At least we took Grimsby to penalties.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's been so dire. Honestly.
And do you know the thing as well is, not everyone gets this. Not every club. Like, when you look back over the last 10 years, obviously the trophies are a separate thing. I think we're like the 3rd most successful team in England trophies-wise, even though it feels like we've been terrible. But the night against Lyon last season, the game today, the FA Cup final against City a couple of years ago, even
the Liverpool game, the 4-3.
The Liverpool 4-3 in that same cup run. Not everyone gets days like this. No. Most teams never get to see them dominate against Man City and win comfortably. So we do need to be a little bit appreciative that even at its worst, being a United fan is still pretty good at it, and it can be really good.
We need to be appreciative, and we need to milk it for all it's worth.
Go on, milk it, Jay!
We're probably going to see about 18 review videos just for me and Joe. We're going to do another one on the same game in a minute. So make sure you are hitting like, share, and subscribe. Go and check out the merchandise. There's a link in the description. Check out the merch. Go and check out Sloppy Joe's podcast with the wonderful Mr. Joe Smith over there.
Go and check out the replay of the game. Yeah, just watch it again and again and again and again.
On repeat. That's been Joe Smith. I'm Jay Martin. This has been a review. Manchester United winning the Manchester derby. Thanks for watching.